CBS News correspondent David Begnaud is at the Fort Lauderdale airport. David, why was his gun returned right after he was admitted for mental health issues? And how likely is this the same weapon used in the Fort Lauderdale shooting?
Well, Elaine, they had no reason to keep it. I mean, the federal authorities said yesterday at the press conference, we can't just keep a gun from a man who has been released from the mental facility. So they did the checks that they thought were right at the time. He had every legal right to have the weapon. And so the FBI was saying we had no choice but to give it back to him. As whether it was the weapon used here at the Fort Lauderdale airport, the FBI said, quote, there is suspicion that that is the case. We don't know if they mean they suspect it or other people suspect it, but they acknowledge there is suspicion, but there is no confirmation that it was in fact the weapon used here.
Well, David, as you know, police have detailed a criminal history of violence with Santiago. What do we know?
Well, he had a tumultuous year in 2016, let's put it that way. Starting in January, he was arrested for criminal mischief. Then in March, he was accused of trying to strangle someone, but there was no probable cause to make an arrest. And then in November, Elaine, he went into that federal facility in Anchorage, which, by the way, is very routine. A lot of people will go to an FBI office with a tip or information. He walked in saying people were trying to control his mind. The FBI said he was having terroristic thoughts. But what we found interesting is that he shows up and leaves his newborn baby in the vehicle. He also left his weapon in the vehicle, took the loaded magazine with him into the office. But at the time he went to the FBI, they said he didn't threaten to harm anyone, not the child, not anyone else. So they thought, you know what, let's just get this guy some help. And so that's why they forced him to go for a mental evaluation.
Well, David, in Puerto Rico, the accused brother is speaking out and blaming the authorities, specifically the FBI, for not helping Santiago when he came to them for help. How is the mother reacting to this?
Very emotional, Elaine. Through tears yesterday, speaking in Spanish to journalists in Puerto Rico. She didn't quite blame the U.S. government for not giving her son enough treatment, but she said that he was, as another family member said, essentially out of his mind. He was having issues that the family knew about. The mother and other family members have indicated that there were periods where they never heard from Santiago. So there would be a phone call at one point during the year of 2016 that you wouldn't hear from him for a month or two. It is worth noting that in the federal documents, Santiago allegedly confessed to planning the attack. As of tonight, he is in federal custody at the jail here in Broward County. He is charged with one count of murder. There will be more counts, but that one count allows the authorities to keep him in jail, and he is expected to appear before a federal magistrate tomorrow.
But David, any word on a motive here?
No. And look, we have asked for that. And the FBI is not giving us a motive, but it's worth pointing out, I don't want to overstate this, but the FBI has said twice at every press conference, we have not ruled out terrorism. That is not to say there will be any kind of terroristic involvement. But we just need to tell you that at every press conference, the feds usually start. George Pirro, the special agent in charge here in Miami, has started every briefing. There have only been two that I have been at, where he has said we have not ruled out terrorism. Other than that, there is no motive that has been given at this point, Elaine, other than to say they believe Santiago came here to Fort Lauderdale for nothing else than to commit the mass shooting. He only had a one-way flight.
Let me ask you, David, what charges does Santiago face, and when will he go before a judge?
Well, the judge will be tomorrow morning, and murder is the only charge right now. One count of murder, but you can bet more will follow.
All right. David Begnaud in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for us. David, thank you.
You bet.